Yo, what's up everybody? So today I'll be showing you my build I came up with for the first season endgame build. I'm level 95 and this is a no basic skill build. Yes, you heard it right, no basic skill. This will be a Upheaval and Hammer of the Ancients. And this is some of the gameplay I've shown you right here. You can see we are running a tier 59 Never Dungeon as a 3-man scaling. If you remember in the patch notes, they buffed scaling from mobs for each group member. The mobs have 15% more HP, so this is, 3 players in one dungeon. Tier 59, I know they nerfed nightmare dungeons. I'm not too happy about it, but it is what it is. We are running a barber gem as well, the wrathful one. I'll show you in a bit with the gear. There are some disadvantages with this barber gem. It's not as powerful as people think, I think. Especially for group play, it kind of bugs out. But yeah, the combo is we basically need 3 weapons because we're running Walking Arsenal. So, HotA is doing the bludgeoning, aka mace. Upheaval is our slash doing it, and Rupture is our dual wield. And Rupture, there's a problem with Rupture. I feel like the animation is too slow. They should probably increase it even if it's binded to dual wield. So there's a couple of issues with Barb. Like they don't really I'm pretty sure everyone knows that Barb is not the strongest class right now, and there are some buffs incoming. But enough of a buff for Barb, in my opinion, would be to speed up animations of skills. That's what I think would be, kind of enough. But we will see what we will have in 2 days. Actually, tomorrow there'll be a dev stream with some buffs for Barbs and some news and updates. Don't see much here on the boss, but as you can see, there is no damage showing at all because everyone is running Barber in the group. And yeah, that's where it bugs out. Anyways, we go straight to the business, aka we got the skill tree. All right. So first 2 points, you don't really care about it. We don't use it. Now we got maxed out HotA and Upheaval. We go with Furious. This also got buffed. It used to be 3%. Well, back in the beta, this was 8%, but it was too OP. Currently, because reasons at level 25, whatever. So now they changed it to 3%. That was too weak. Now it's back to 5, somewhere in the middle. Now we got Furious HotA as well. See how it plays to, how it goes hand in hand. Furious Upheaval, Furious HotA. So this is mainly for the Fury generation. This is our Fury generator. I know it doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. Next up, we got some HP for, survivability. Rolling Cry, the usual for Fury. We got Challenging Shout for Fury here when you take damage, also HP. And as you can see, my Challenging Shout lasts for over 15 seconds and has a cooldown of 20 seconds. Combined with Bold Chieftain, yes, you guessed it right, there is no cooldown on Challenging Shout as long as you have one mob around you that has the skull above its HP from Challenging Shout. I'll explain how is it possible. So basically this HP and Fury and DR, yes, all these 3 buffs are active and non-stop. Next up, we got movement speed just for farming. I would put these points in Raid Leader and Garoliel if I was to push Hammer Dungeons. But this is single-handedly the best defensive, aspect, if you will. It reduces mobs damage by a lot. Next up, we have Rupture. I put some points in it for the cooldown reduction, but these 2 points could be put in Pit Fighter maybe. I used to run that before. But Rupture for the attack speed, this one got buffed. 30% attack speed for 5 seconds. It's amazing. The proper cooldowns and rotation, that you can have this up non-stop too. Which is something I'm fine with. Now we have like no mercy, crit chance. We don't really need crit chance. I know it sounds weird, but we have so much crit chance, it's insane. I will also show you that. Expose vulnerability to keep mobs vulnerable non-stop, because once you use weapon mastery, chains or rupture, and then core skill, mobs are vulnerable for 3 seconds. They also increase vulnerable to for steel grass to 3 seconds, very good. We get some berserk action going. I don't have the aspect that makes your berserk last longer with core skill. I don't have that. I should probably get it. I got 3 from Amulet. So I have basically no points in here, which I'm kind of missing. 6 points in this will be insane. I might actually, yeah, we'll see about that. Alright, next up we got Wallop. Now we don't have Concussion even though we're running Mace for one reason. Lucky hits don't proc if you have Barber Gem, sadly. So that's what I have. The reason why I don't run heavy-handed, even though both of my skills are two-handers, is because the increase from this is so minimal. We have so much crit damage thanks to our gem that, I would just put the point somewhere else. A main generator, Fury generator, is a weapon swap, 6 Fury. And then we have more HP, Spinning Fury, and then we have Walking Arsenal. So these are the skills, right? Now the generator for this build, why we don't need weapon basic skill, is as you can see the weapon swap. We have Rallying Cry, we have resource generation on rings, which I'm still missing some upgrades, 13%, 13.8. So I'm missing like 10% resource generation, so it would be much better. But mainly, as I showed you, Challenging Shout has full uptime, 24/7, and that goes with this aspect where shouts generate fury. So this gets amplified by resource generation, and also I run high willpower for Paragon nodes. Also gives nice resource generation. And I will show you the Paragon board now. And then we'll get over the gear. So the first one, basic, we got exploit. Go for both low requirements. First board we got is Weapon Mastery. I don't go for the Legendary node, even though it will be amazing and perfect, but it's way too far. So I'm going the damage to Elite, Classic, and then attack speed. I honestly might drop these points and put them somewhere else, but we shall see about that. Next glyph, we got Martial to buff this armor. Very important aspect in the game. Armor, that is. Should probably put some points in here too for extra stats, because that'll be pretty cool. Or I might swap some glyphs later. Next board, we got Decimator for this beautiful vulnerability and armor. We got Might to buff this vulnerable DR and also vulnerable damage. I might change things up because vulnerable kinda is not... I mean, it's still important and mandatory to take, but after its nerf, it's not as much increase. Next up, we got Flawless Technique for crit damage. Those are the two main offensive stats, right? Vulnerable and crit damage. We got Mortal Draw. I'm being attacked. Mortal Draw is amazing damage and also gives you crit chance. That's one of our first... Hold on. Hold up. Let's just go in the city. Whatever. So Mortal Draw, my favorite glyph, because it does add a lot of damage. 89%. And this is not even maxed out, right? I'm still missing dex nodes here. Actually, only one? Oh. I would have guessed more. Anyways, that would still be a great boost to, you know, the damage here. But every time we swap, we have increased crit chance. We swap non-stop. So DR close, amazing stuff. More armor, 200 armor is a lot. Next board, we have Carnage, just for the close DR. I actually might change this board for Carnage, not Carnage, Bonebreaker. Because Bonebreaker has amazing DR. Excuse me, damage, but also DR while 45. So that's what I'm looking for. Like, these nodes are absolutely insane. And more DR here. So I might try and go Bonebreaker instead if I get some extra spare points. A very important board is a Warbringer for a max Fury in here and some HP. It's also good. I will also go this route. And the glyph we have here is Territorial. I'm still missing one level or like one node for Dexterity to activate it. But he could even go Undaunted. Could be even better for the DR. Depends how often you can get 45 up. But with this build, we have so much regen that Numbing Wrath aspect is just wild. This is the Paragon board. Now we get the skills. I mean, sorry, gear. At peace, cooldown reduction, armor, max life. And the reason why I have CC duration, which also goes with smiting here, where you can see if you're healthy, you have increased CC duration. And if you have CC duration, also these boots Exploiter. CC duration applies to the taunt for Challenging Shout because taunt is CC. But also with this, the DR, HP, and the Fury on damage taken also gets activated. So that's why it's so crazy. It doesn't show in town, but it does show outside of town. But once again, you need at least one mob to be alive and can have that skull above its HP bar. It doesn't work really on elites, only for the duration. So for not 15 seconds, but for 8 seconds, as you could see in town. Which is interesting, like this CC duration affix actually applies to the skill itself. But this CC duration from aspects applies outside like the skill, if you know what I mean. Interesting. So we got Numbing Wrath here for 45. You might even want to go for all stats to apply to activate like Paragon Board instead of CC duration. I actually might do that if I get a headpiece, but this one is pretty cool. max CDR, max armor. We got Rage of Arrogant to reduce cooldown on Rapture. If you have elite and mobs around you, you can get up to 10-second cooldown reduction on skills, which is massive. I got pretty good roll. DR for bleeding, nothing that crazy, but why not? More crit chance again with physical damage against elites. We got Weapon Master. If you don't have the chest piece, I will just get a full DR chest piece with total armor as well, and plus Challenging Shout. And I would probably get probably Iron Skin. That's what I will use for pushing Nightmare Dungeons. I will change this chest piece for a normal DR one, and I would probably ditch Rapture and go with Iron Skin and put the Iron Skin aspect on the chest piece because it's so powerful that that aspect, it's insane. DR and Unstoppable, wild. We got the gloves here, crit chance, attack speed, pretty good rolls, and HotA Upheaval, of course, for our 2 skills. It was very hard to find these. We got Weapon Mastery aspect to give us extra charge mainly, and then Lucky Hit for stun. Doesn't really bother, like we don't really care about the stun because the Barber doesn't activate Lucky Hits. The pants, we got triple DR and armor. You would want to mirror these stats on chest piece. But on chest piece, you could go for plus Challenging Shout. We get Disobedience. I could probably put Disobedience on Amulet for more percentage, but after Nightmare nerfs, don't think it's that necessary. We'll see, I'll test it out. The boots, we have Exploiter for CC duration, but also for stun, for more damage to unstoppable enemies. Fury cost, willpower, movement speed, 45 generation, all amazing stats. Willpower again for Paragon Board. As you could see, that Warbringer requires me to get 630 willpower right here, and I want to have this active. And this Fury cost reduction, you gotta be careful about this. I will talk about it in a bit. And we got the blue gems, 45. I think it's more important to get the blue ones compared to the HP ones, the rubies, but we'll see about that once I get into higher levels. Weapon 200, we got Mace. This is for our HotA. Like this season, I was extremely lucky with weapons. I don't know if they buffed weapons, but I've been getting nothing but amazing rolls and just everything. So strength, all stats, vulnerable damage, and crit damage. These are the most important stats. You could go damage to close or core skill instead of crit damage, because there is a point where crit damage doesn't really do that much anymore if you have too much crit damage. And all these stats from the board, like let's say vulnerable and crit damage, they don't show in your character sheet. So you always have to like put these numbers on top of that, right? We got Limitless Rage to apply the damage to core skills since we run both of them. Enter 200 is my axe, and the reason why I went with axe because it's 819. It's got amazing rolls. Sadly, it's 3 out of 4 rolls. That damage to poison is absolutely useless, so I still need to get a new one. We got smiting aspect. I explained why. Even more crit chance to injure enemies. Injure enemies are mobs below 35% HP, so this is pretty wild aspect. But as you can see, the implicit damage to healthy enemies. 200 sword is crit damage, but I think this is better if you combine it with the Barber Gem. Barber Gem is this one in Amulet. Crit strikes, well, basically what you do between the 2 to 4 seconds, depending on a roll, the mobs are immune, but all the damage you do to them is absorbed, and then for each second it bursts, right? For each second it's increased. The star damage is increased by 14% up to 15% per second, and then it bursts, right? So when the damage shows immune, no real numbers, then lucky hits cannot proc. And you're basically front-loading mobs with this damage to healthy enemies, right? Because once you start, the HP bar doesn't move on mobs because everything is getting stored and then it explodes. So I believe 200x is really good, especially for the expertise. You get crit chance even more against vulnerable enemies. This build has 100% crit chance. So that's pretty cool. And I'll also use the expertise or Chuk technique for 200x vulnerable. If you need bleed, you could go with 200 sword. Why not? But we get Rupture. Keep in mind though, Rage of Arrogant does not work with this bleed for whatever reason. It doesn't work with Berserk Ripping either, for whatever reason. That's why uniques for Barb are absolute F tier, just like the class, Omega Lu. Dual wield, we got HotA Quake. We got, once again, strength, all stats, crit damage. I would want to change the damage to stunned enemies. I would want to get vulnerable. It is what it is. Our sword, again, strength all stats, crit damage vulnerable. I could probably drop strength on both of these weapons and get like damage to close or core skill. We got Edgemaster here, green gems and weapons. Now the rings, as you could see already before the Shout Fury. Max HP resource, crit chance vulnerable, generally the best rings. No need to get health after Nightmare nerf probably, but I still like it. With this, this is my favorite gem. That's why crit chance is so high, 100%. After spending 65 Fury, within 2 seconds, you know, your non-basic skills, crit strike chance is increased by percentage, right? So you always want to have your skills to cost more than the number here. So I need to get my skills more than 65 Fury. So we got 31 on HotA, 36, you know, that's 67. This one gets applied after, you know, changing or like attack with HotA and then Upheaval. You always want to use either or, right? You don't want to use 2 HotAs in a row or 2 Upheavals. You want to use either first HotA and then Upheaval. That's like the rotation. But the reason why you don't want to get Fury cost reduction too high on items, as you can see, I'm not running it here. If I run it on an Amulet, I would need to use 3 skills to activate this gem, which is not worth it all. So you gotta be careful about that. Next ring, Bold Chieftain. Classic. I still didn't get a single job with Bold Chieftain up until level 95. I'm really glad they put it in the codex, but it still sucks because max roll is, you know, double that time, 2 seconds, which is still huge. This gem, that's the issue with this gem, right? If your crit damage is too high, the bonus from this gem is not that crazy. There's a calculator. I might share it. It's from my favorite content creator on YouTube, Min-Maxer, Therian Crafter, Exadio. I love his channel. I will put the link in the description probably. He's got a calculator for this gem where you put your crit damage, your crit chance. It calculates how much increase this damage this gem actually is. So it might seem like a lot since we're running 100% crit chance, but yeah. So if, we got crit damage, resource, crit chance. Again, I'm missing vulnerable here for actually on 2 items, so I still need to work on that. I need higher resource generation. But the problem is to find the right affixes, but also the right color of the socket. Our amulet here, we got counter offensive, pretty good damage, or Valop, that would be the best. DR from bleeding, we got Rapture, we got bleeding, DR from Rage of Hargath. I don't really want to go for DR from bleeding this season, so I'll probably want to replace it with like closer 45. Max roll CDR and then DR, not too bad. Plus defensives instead of DR from bleeding would be the top notch, the best, but man, getting that amulet is almost impossible. So the gems, Consumables, I would want to go with armor probably. You could go with max HP 30%, so it's either that or Iron Skin. Both of these drop from health-type chests. Crit chance we don't need. We could go with crit damage, but once again, ain't that much of an increase of damage. Or you could go for a max resource for HotA damage. Or you could go for reduction of the skills. Reduces resource cost, but once again, gotta be careful because it might, it might interfere with this gem in a bad way. And I'm pretty sure that was it. If you got any questions, boys and girls, hit me up down below in the comment section or on Discord or on Twitch or on Twitter. Everywhere. And I will be putting a build planner on Diablo builds where we have a DPS simulator, DPS sim. So you could play around there. Get some conditions going too on the mobs like Berserk active, vulnerable to AoE or a single target, elite, stuff like that. So I'm gonna play around, mess around with that. We'll see how it goes. I'll put that in the planner. And until next time, thank you everybody for watching and have a good one. Peace out.